Your choices don't matter is a phrase you might have not really thought about since the very beginning of Deltarune. Unlike kill or be killed in Undertale, the phrase, or different variations of it, aren't mentioned a lot past chapter 1 really. Now, for the longest time, I really thought choices did matter in Deltarune, and we were going to break this prophecy, the philosophy, like kill or be killed in Undertale. However, that is not to say I think Deltarune will have a sad ending, because I believe your choices don't matter. Because I don't think that's the direction the story is going, in the main route at least. Deltarune is clearly a story of hope, and that we're going up against a catastrophe we seemingly can't change, but probably will in the end. Especially with the help of the characters along with us. But I do think at least in the recruits and no recruits endings of the game, there won't be really much difference. So in this video, I really want to discuss your choices don't matter, because if they do or not, this phrase was really important from the beginning of Deltarune theorizing, and really has fallen into the background. I just wanted to take a look back into this phrase. So let's really start by doing something new on my channel, right? And let's talk a little bit about Undertale. Now, usually I don't talk about Undertale, simply because Deltarune and Undertale are not really affected by one another, and I mainly want to theorize about Deltarune because it's unfinished and there's more to talk about. However, in this case, I do really think it's important to look at the main phrase of Undertale, of that game, being kill or be killed. So, kill or be killed is the main thing in Undertale, right? The whole point of the game is kind of proving this wrong, and that there is another option in which you can save people. Kill or be killed is a phrase that will linger in your mind for the playthrough. Except for that it won't. On a blind playthrough of Undertale, you will most likely prove this point by killing almost everything, except Papyrus, because he gives you free mercy if you get his health too low. I think most people spare him that I see on their first playthrough. Only in a second playthrough will you finally probably spare everybody, and that's after Flowey stopped saying the phrase because he didn't like the outcome of the neutral route, and he actively encourages you to help people because he wants to see a different outcome. So where was I going with that? Well, your choices don't matter is very, very different from kill or be killed. Now, it might not be seen that way at first. Kill or be killed is a very black and white look on Undertale that can pretty obviously be broken. You can tell you can spare enemies pretty quickly on. Just a lot of players don't figure that out or want to do it or don't feel they have to go out of the way to. Your choices don't matter, though, is very, very vague, and we are not quite sure what steps we have to take in order to break that at all, and we have no clue where the game's going. Obviously, it releases in Chapter Wars, where Undertale was a complete game. I honestly think that your choices don't matter, funnily enough, doesn't matter in its own right, and that if you look too hard into this expression, you'll be taken on a much darker path. Deltarune also suggests you play Undertale first, so naturally an Undertale player would think they need to defy this choices don't matter claim as they defy kill or be killed. And I do think that Toby Fox tries to trick the average player with like things in like Undertale, remember? Like the back voices. We thought we were playing as Kara at the beginning, obviously that's a completely different story, right? And as he still tries to trick the average player, I think in Deltarune he also tries to trick the people who are obsessed with Deltarune videos, like you and me. We're obsessed with theories, we know so much about this game, but he still wants to trick us to give us a sense of surprise, and I do think this is part of it a little bit. And while I don't think our choices matter, I honestly think that in the main room of this game, this isn't really what the game's about. This game isn't about proving our choices matter all that much, or else I feel like this would be mentioned more. I mean, you can already see that in the recruits and no recruits of the game. Sure, Castletown is different in the game and some characters are affected, but the core story doesn't change. Undertale's whole story changes depending on who you kill and who you spare. Every single choice matters in Undertale. I think one representation of how little that every choice matters in Deltarune is literally in the very first chapters of the game. How you can still be on good terms with the Hathy and Rooted if you only hurt one and then apologize. Clearly, not all your choices matter in this game, and they don't all have an outcome because you can change some of your choices. I think that really what this phrase is meant for is a certain character's growth and development. You probably know where I'm going with this. Yeah, I'm making another video talking about Susie, so what? Everyone's favorite purple dinosaur is the one that utters this phrase in the first chapter of what this video is about. Your choices don't matter, right? And I don't think those words she speaks to us is what we need to break. I think it might be what she needs to break. Susie is clearly the one who's going to change fate in Deltarune. Obviously, this is referenced heavily in Chapter 4 through the Gerson fight. She's the one who holds the White Pen of Hope, which I do think will allow her to change the fate of Deltarune and the outcome of the game, like break the prophecy. Your choices don't matter, but I do think hers does. She is the one that will change the prophecy, and she will be the one who will succeed in writing a better future for the game. I am a firm believer that Susie is by far the most important character to Deltarune, and that it really is her story that we are experiencing. We get to see her change, her struggles, and how she develops throughout the game. Your choices don't matter are words spoken by her that she will break as a sign of development in her character, as she learns that her choices do matter and realizes has a different worldview. And the fate of the world really will be held in her hands by her own choices. I do think Susie is the key to this game. However, if we try to strip her of this power for a better future, it might try and lead us on a darker path. And as you may have guessed, this darker path that I'm referring to is the weird route in the game. Yeah, Snowgrave route, weird route, whatever you want to call it. See, I really want to change how we look at our choices to matter, because I honestly think that we don't want our choices to matter, and making them matter is a bad thing. The weird route is basically all about making your choices matter in Deltarune, and forcing other people to do as you choose. You force Noelle to do your choices. It's all about taking control into your own hands, and how the story progresses when you take control and you change the fate. You are actively harming others to make your choices matter, and really, in the end, if you're trying to make your choices matter and it leads to a bad outcome and you hurting people, is it really worth your choices mattering? Unlike Kill or Be Killed, I don't think we want to defy our choices not mattering. In the description for Deltarune, again, it is recommended you play Undertale before you play Deltarune. I especially think people who are Undertale fans are instantly going to want to change what they see as the Kill or Be Killed in this game, and that is what causes you to look for a way for your choices to matter and you to impact the story by being so obsessed with changing something that you will think will lead to a bad ending, but will only lead you to a bad ending by trying to find a way out of it. Thanks for watching this video. I know I said in my last video I had an idea on what was I gonna make. I really didn't know what I was gonna make for this video, because the other one that I was going to make a video on kind of fell through. It just wasn't that interesting of a topic, and I didn't really have a great idea what I wanted to build it around. If you did enjoy watching video, subscribe, or watch some of my other content first and then subscribe. You decide, really. Consider it. Hey, it's always on the table, And thanks again for watching, and goodbye.